Hi, this is Wiship, and this is your reading for the Capricorn new moon of December 29th, 2016. I'm traveling, so the phone might be a little wobbly and my throat is a little grungy, so I hope I'm not clearing it the whole way through, but I definitely wanted to do this video. I am interested, too, in what the cards have to say for this new moon. Briefly, I want to say there's a lot going on in the skies, so if you're interested, definitely look into that, and I'll give you a very quick recap. The Sun is currently conjunct Mercury in Capricorn. Just a few degrees away from them, Pluto is conjunct the Moon in Capricorn, so that's a ton. Then we've got Mars, which is conjunct Neptune in Pisces. We've got Uranus, which is coming out of retrograde today or tomorrow, and it's in opposition with Jupiter in Libra. So that's a ton going on. Depending on where those planets are in your chart and how important they are to you, you might want to look into that because there could be some great, exciting opportunities. Mercury is currently in retrograde. When it comes out of retrograde on January 8th, we're going to have all the planets going direct. So it'll be the first time in a while we're not dealing with any of the planets in retrograde. But while Mercury is in retrograde, it is giving us a chance to reevaluate, and it's in retrograde in Capricorn, so it's talking about goal setting, which is perfect for this time of year anyway. So many of us are doing assessment of what we've done and what we'd like to do going forward and what goals might be for the new year, that kind of thing. And I actually flipped a card to figure out which of these planetary aspects, if any, I should talk about, and the card that came up in Lenormand was the Mountain, which is the card for Capricorn. So the mountain in Lenormand can signify an uphill climb or difficulties or obstacles. But here I'm asking it about the Capricorn aspect. Capricorn is the mountain goat. The mountain goat is nimble. Capricorns often are a sign associated with worldly success and high status in the world. And sometimes we see Capricorns after they've already, quote unquote, made it, and we think it was a simple climb for them. But in fact, the Capricorn goat zigs and zags, looking for the best foothold, looking for the best place to land, and is nimble and willing to change direction. So it's important to maintain that kind of flexibility and realize that even though you might be setting large goals for your life, you don't have to make huge steps to show your dedication. You don't have to put yourself out on a limb in order to show your appreciation for a new opportunity or to show your dedication to a new life. It's only important that you make the next step, whatever that is, and whatever size that is. Because the idea of determination is really about making a decision and resolving a conflict in your mind. So when you have a conflict, determination used to be a word that had to do with settlements, legal judgments. So the idea is you might have conflicting ideas at work, and you make a decision for one rather than the other, or maybe out of a choice of more than two, and then you make some small step that affirms the choice you've made. That's all you have to do, and you've done just like the Capricorn goat, and you will get to the top of the mountain. So I got some Lenormand cards, and then for the middle, I've got this tarot card, which I'm putting in a Lenormand house. So I hope that it'll make sense once I flip it over. So what do we have in the tarot card? Ace of Discs. Okay. So this is a great card for material gain, and we're putting it right here. Roads. Oh, I love it. It all makes sense. Okay. Roads in Lenormand is a card of choices. So I'm saying we've got the One of Discs, the Ace of Discs reversed in the House of the Roads. So where we are talking about the Ace of Discs, a lot of times people will focus upon the fact there seems to be this world beyond the garden, right? And the Ace of Discs offers this chance to move from the safety of the garden into this greater world. So sometimes when you get the Ace of Discs reversed, it means you have an opportunity to enter the larger world and you're not taking it. For whatever reason, you feel safer in your garden and you're not ready to take the move outside. But sometimes the Ace of Discs in reverse is telling you, like Dorothy, there's no place like home. You already have an abundant garden. Your life already has the seeds of everything you want. And the fact that we're in the House of the Roads, which in Lenormand is all about choices, sort of tells me that you don't have to make a choice about this gift, or you've already made a choice. Somehow in the way you're living your life, the things you're doing, the small steps you are making, you have made the choice, right? The idea is not that you're waiting for this to come. The idea that is in some way it has already come, and you've already kind of made the choice. And whether or not the choice is for that, distant mountain range, or that you want to work within your own garden, whatever choice you've made is a good one. But realize, I think what's being called for is that right now you have made one, or you are making one. Just the things that you're prioritizing in your life, the small things, you are prioritizing the mountain that you want to climb, right? You're choosing, I want to do more with the garden I have. I want to renovate it. I want it to be more productive. I want maybe to overhaul it, but I'm working within the things I have, or I am striking out for this new thing. But whatever it is, you're doing it, and you're making that choice. Or in some way, I sort of feel like it's already been made in a funny way. Anyway, this is sort of like, you can think of this as the past or the yin, the sort of, it can be a things to avoid card. We'll just look and see what we get. Okay. So we've got the dog, which is a card of friendship and associations, and Aquarian energy, which is also very new. It's like, I'm looking for the new thing. I'm looking for the great thing. And you can see this dog, and he came up actually in our last reading, I think, where he's a very high status dog. And so he's got this medal, and he's up on the podium. And so I think of this as a card of being elevated among your friends and peers, which ties very well with the Capricorn energy of wanting to have greater status, that you want to be elevated above your peers. And so in a way, this dog in the past says to me, there was something that we might have been looking for that was new. We wanted something new to elevate us above our peers. In some way, maybe not to elevate us above them in a bad way, but to be recognized by them. We wanted this new thing to somehow put a shine on us, to cast a medal on us, to really make us stand out from the crowd. And that's what we were looking for. That's what we were working for. We were hoping for this thing to show up, or this break to come, or something. And then the people around us in our current groups of associations and peers, maybe our families, our coworkers, would see what a champion we really were, would see what we were made of. But it's sort of like saying, we may have come to a point where we don't need that, where we're saying, I don't care if I get the medal. I don't care if I'm elevated above my peers. That might not be what I'm going for anymore. That sense of status, that sense of position, that sense of needing their approval might not be the important, sun in my sky anymore. That might not be the choice I'm choosing for. So let's look at the other card and see what else we get. This would be sort of future looking, or it could be young energy, actions to take. Oh, look at that. Okay. So this is very interesting. So Book in Lenormand is a card of knowledge, but it's also a card of secrets. It is also the card that represents Pisces. And Pisces is where Neptune and Mars are conjunct right now. And if you know about Mars, Mars is the action planet. And this particular book card is very red, and it's got this hand with this knife sticking through it. It's very action oriented, right? this looks like warrior energy for a book, doesn't it? So we currently have Neptune, which is all about universal love. And yes, it can be about delusions and fantasy, but in its best, it's about universal love. It's deep spiritual knowledge. It's really great divine affection just pouring out on everybody. And Pisces is its natural home. And Mars is now in Pisces. Now, some people say, well, all that watery Piscean energy really dampens Mars' fire. But I've heard a lot of people say recently, and I think it's a good analogy, that Mars in Pisces can also be an aspect for a spiritual warrior, right? It's a spiritual warrior. When we see this hand with this knife plunging through the book, even though it's stabbing the book, the fact is it can be a sign of a spiritual warrior. So book can be investigation, can be learning, can be uncovering secrets, can be coming up with new knowledge. And what this seems to say to me is that where before we might have been looking for things that had more of a tinge of worldly status, worldly approval. I just keep seeing this disc as being sort of analogous to this dog's medal. But now we're making a choice, right? We're choosing the roads and we're following this path of spiritual knowledge, which is not leading to weakness, but is leading to a new kind of strength. So where this hand is stabbing the book, if you think of it as stabbing a holy book and that's disturbing, think of this as a book of rules that you have outgrown. It doesn't have to be a spiritual book. It could be a book where somebody was marking demerits every time you were late for school. You can think of it as any sort of old form of knowledge or old form of record keeping or old form of score keeping that you don't need anymore. And with Mars conjunct with Neptune in Pisces, you're taking the opportunity to be a spiritual warrior and to step away from that old status-oriented or approval-oriented form of self-evaluation and stepping forward in bravery to do something that feels more spiritually fulfilling, that feels more in tune with your true purpose. So this can be a very exciting time, especially if you happen to have started out on a new path of training or education. You're considering a new path and you're thinking, I don't know anything about it, or I don't know as much as I need to know. The book is a great card to say, you can get that knowledge, you can learn that. This isn't beyond you. If you think of this hand going through there, you can think of it as, I can nail it, right? I can conquer this knowledge. It's not too much for me. The skill that you hope to gain, the knowledge you hope to gain, they're not too much for you. You are capable of conquering them. But it is very interesting. This definitely seems to be a turn from the external currently to the internal. And that might just be because Mercury is still retrograde and that all of these internal decisions, these internal determinations of which mountain you want to climb are going to lead to very external actions by mid to late January, that it's all going to really start to come clear. But in the meantime, I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on, and I hope exciting and wonderful and good things are happening for you. Have a very happy New Year's celebration. If you celebrate the coming of the New Year on the calendar year, many people celebrate the New Year with Yule on the 21st, which is also exciting. And I will see you in 2017, but rock on with your self-determining selves. Bye.